everyone, I'm Kathryn and welcome to Back to Healthy. Today I have a question for you. What is health? As I mentioned in previous videos, I am still very culture shocked by the amount of what I consider to be pro-obesity movements that have popped up in the past decade in the US. And the one that I wanted to discuss today was healthy at every size. But at the same time, I don't like focusing on these movements that I consider to be negative and to have a very negative message that they're just spreading out into the world. So from time to time, I run my ideas by Prince Charming, and he posed the question to me, what is health? When I really thought about it, a little light bulb went off, and I wondered if all these movements that for me were pro-obesity in my eyes aren't actually what they are. You know, maybe we just have two different definitions of health, or maybe they're focusing on just one aspect of health, whereas I'm looking at health as this more broad definition of it. So that's the question that I'm posing to you, because this is my definition of health. Health for me breaks down into two categories: your physical health and your mental health. Both physical and mental health are umbrella terms. And for the physical part, for me that would include your overall eating habits and your nutrition level. It includes how active you are, how much rest you're getting, and if you're actively trying to better yourself. Your mental health for me would include things like how social are you? How productive are you? How positive are you? How much do you contribute to the world? Do you strive to be better? And how encouraging are you towards other people? Now, one of the things that I noticed within my own definition is that I expect myself to always do better. I don't think people should strive to be perfect, because you're just going to perpetually be disappointed in yourself. But you can always strive to do better. And I think the perfect example I have of this for myself would be my diet. Sometimes I'll watch videos on YouTube and I can be very judgmental of other people and what they eat, and I have to take a step back and remind myself that, hey, once upon a time I was in the same place as they were. But I think things like that, it's very easy to forget, because at least for those people and myself, we're in two very different places. I started actively making changes to my diet about 4 years ago, when one day I decided I'm going to cut sugar. And if you ever decide to cut sugar, what that ultimately means is that you can't have any processed food. Anything that comes from a can, a bag, or a box, most likely it's going to have sugar in it, which means you can't eat it. And so one of the changes that I made is that I cooked home-cooked meals from scratch. That being said, in the beginning, when I didn't know how to cook, a lot of the recipes that I used came from the internet. And unfortunately, the internet has a lot of BS out there. So while I was eating healthier, because no matter what, if you're making your own stuff, you are never ever going to use as much sugar as they do in processed food, it still wasn't the healthiest thing I could be eating. And there came a point when I realized that just because a recipe calls for sugar or all these unnecessary added fats doesn't mean you have to add them. There are more healthier alternatives that you can choose from. For example, if you have a sugar that calls for fat, you can easily substitute that with an avocado, with some banana, or with some yogurt. Or if you have a recipe that calls for sugar, you can easily replace that with fruit, which will have fiber and sugar, so it's a win-win. And that is something that I have worked on for over 4 years, and I'm constantly trying to look at what I eat and ask myself, is there a way that I can make this better? Is there choices that I can make that would make this healthier? And so overall, I would say, at least for myself, health isn't about being perfect. It's about constantly looking to improve yourself to make better choices. When I look at all these different movements out there, it's not about making better, healthier choices over a period of time and watching how these small little changes add up. It's not really about working to improve yourself to being a healthier, better version of yourself. It seems to be just being contented with where you are right now and just becoming stagnant and just not moving, which to me is just unhealthy. And I can't imagine that. I can't imagine just not having ambition, because that's what it means to me. And I don't want to poo-poo on anybody's parade, but I honestly feel that the biggest obstacle that we all have to overcome isn't society, it isn't other people, it's ourselves. And once you come to the realization that the only person standing in your way is yourself, it's like you open this door and you see this big, beautiful world which is just yours for the taking. Your imagination really is the limit to what you can become as a person, and that to me is healthy. You know, when you look at the world and you appreciate it, you strive to be better, you strive to help people. You know, you don't pull them down so that you can crawl over them, you pull them up so that you can all go together. And I don't know, maybe I just really misunderstand all these movements out there, but I sort of like my message a lot better than their message. Anywho, that's what I have for you today, and I would love to hear back from you guys in the comments. What's your definition of health? What do you think of my definition for health? And yeah, there's this part of me that's like, my way's better, but then I'm probably biased. If you don't know, I make videos every Wednesday, so be sure to come back and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys! This is my knee where I fell on that toy that belonged to my child. This is my arm where I burnt myself when I was being all domestic and doing the ironing for my husband. I don't like it. And there's this part of me that's worried. It's all yellow, but it doesn't hurt, so I don't know if I need to go to the doctor.